Good evening, folks. How are you doing? Getting ready to do the usual New Day Tuesday stream, which, as I say it out loud, doesn't sound quite right, but that's what it is. So, yeah, I'm going to be playing some Fallout 76, but you know what? Last week's stream was a little bit of a revelation. It was maybe my most watched stream definitely my most watched stream in a long time, and it had far less Fallout than the usual stream. We got talking about some really deep subjects. It was awesome. It was really awesome. Thanks as usual to Jamie. Don't know if we're going to see Jamie today or not. I'm hoping as usual that we do, but it's always just kind of a chance thing when folks show up. So anyway, yeah, and this is actually going to be the last day that I stream Fallout, at least for a week. Possibly quite a bit more. Not that I've kind of made my peace with Fallout and what it is, and the fact that it's always going to be... I'm always going to have a love-hate relationship with it. And there's a lot of fun stuff I'm doing right now. That I still have some longer-term goals about some fun things to do with the shelters and stuff, but I'm going to kind of mix it up a little bit more, try out. I found some other games to try. We've got Angerfoot that we're going to be playing later tonight. Going to be talking maybe just briefly about Stray, this game that is being released 1 week from today, which if you haven't seen it, go take a look. Just to help get the word out, because it is made by an indie developer. We'll probably run through the trailer again and just take a look at some of the gameplay. And then for people like me who were huge fans of a little game called The Tomorrow Children on the PlayStation, big news this week. I think it was last Thursday they announced a release date for The Tomorrow Children. So, coming out this year. North America and Europe, it is arriving September 6th. Japan, it's arriving September 7th. And it was apparently some other like Arab countries and that kind of thing. I believe it's also on the 6th, based on what I heard. The answer we got from Q Games in asking about it, which, let me tell you, the Q Games... awesome company like really accessible, really nice folks. Couldn't ask for a better group of game developers in terms of fan support. But anyway, yeah, so they were saying, we don't list absolutely every country just because the list would get so long that there wouldn't be room in the announcement. But anyway, so yeah, The Tomorrow Children is coming back. Lots of new features. They had a very cool trailer with a lot more stuff in it. Really excited about this one. They announced the price, so I'll be talking about that a little bit later too. I think to kind of chat about that, I have some videos from the original release of the game of me playing. And if it fits the stream, we'll just kind of feel it out. If it fits, then I'll probably play some of those videos and chat about the game and, like why I think it's actually no pun intended, a game changer. Why it was a game changer when it came out. It was just too early. Literally ahead of its time in terms of some of its gameplay constructs, its graphics. I mean, this is a game that did ray tracing before ray tracing was a thing. If you don't believe me, go look at the pictures. There's actually, you can go find academic published papers out there on the engine that they built and how the rendering works. Some of the mechanics in the game made their way into other much more visible big studio games like Death Stranding. I think that things are set up much better this time for its release. I'm hoping that, you know what? I hope the critics have gotten their heads out of their collective butts. Like, I bet if we could have listened, you could have heard the popping sound all at once. Sorry to be graphic, but I tell you, the critics blew it on this one when it was out last time. Do better, folks. You've got another chance. Get some perspective. Let's get some good reviews going. All right, why don't we play the game we're looking at here? Let's play a little Fallout. And first things first, I think we'll take a look at what's in the store. And before I do anything else, actually. Did that stop? It's all good? Stopped on its own? Technology worked? Holy cow, Amazon, you did a little thing correctly. Good job. Keep it up. All right. I don't know about you. I think this attitude today is a little bit of, say the last 2 years, just culminating this last week in a mood. Yeah, it just, we're down to it. You know what I mean? It's, everyone's like, yay, COVID's over, mask off, big parties, hooray. It's allergies. No, it's just a cold. Why is my neck so stiff? So yeah, COVID's back. No, it isn't. It's not back. It never left. And so, at least in the state I live in, we've got hospitals that are packed up again. You know, people just can't seem to learn. So between that and everything else going on politically and whatnot, you know, yeah, it just, I think it's kind of burned off a lot of the, you know, maybe a little bit of the grace and patience and diplomacy that I took years to cultivate. It's not such a bad thing, though. Oh, let's see. Checking some announcements. Pardon me for just a moment, making sure everything looks like it's working. Good, good. We got the green bars. My mic isn't dead. I'm not like talking into the void here. All right. Yeah, let's go look at the store right away. Let's just do that first thing. What are they trying to pawn off on us for fake money this week? Well, we get some free gray wallpaper. Yay. It's actually not so bad. Free trail fireworks. Okay. A sports bundle? No. Skull totem set? No, not a natural cultist. Grelock the sorcerer. There's hardly any room for a picture, though. Hey, there's Jamie. I'm doing okay. I'm doing really good. Managed to kick the banana mayonnaise sandwich habit, so I'm doing much better. I have to admit that video, so Jamie posted, or didn't post, you just commented on a video to watch from last week. And so, true to my word, right afterwards I went and watched it. Now, admittedly, as soon as I saw the gobs of mayonnaise, I did watch it on fast speed. I was like, oh, geez, okay, hold on. And so I watched it like on 2 times speed, which maybe is its own experience, you know. And I did not, I will admit, I did not like surprise my family with it, because I think it may have, we have some people in our family who are maybe a little sensitive to the gagging and retching sounds. Like, it kind of creates sympathetic gagging and retching. So, how are you doing? How's your week been? We got an ore basket backpack, the Garahan extractor paint. We got the minecart cooktop stove, pristine mow the mole outfit, mole miner stash. Nope. Mine reclamation bundle. No. But I'm doing good. Work has been good. I think the thing that's really if I sound like I have a little more energy, 2 things: sleep, and also got through a writing block last night. Finally, like literally after about, I don't know. I lose all sense of how long I've been working on anything. I've probably been working on the same little span of text for about a month. Not trying to perfect it, just trying to find the, I absolutely hate this. Like, what else what happens here? How do I do this? And last night, and it's just how it goes. It just, sometimes you just got to keep at it, and it kind of fell into place. So, lots of good things to be in a good mood about. Your brother and mom are the same. I'm going to assume you mean about the gagging, retching thing. And your week's had its ups and downs. So it's okay. All right. Well, I hope the ups have outnumbered the downs. I hope. It's like that sometimes, though, isn't it? It's like that a lot of the time anymore. All right. I'm not seeing anything all that fancy or special here. We'll take a look. The bundles, nothing there. What is that? Photo pose bundle, $9. Really? We got flashlight pose, dancer pose, confetti. $9 is too much for that. They're getting greedy. James Caan, yeah, I heard about that. Let's see. It feels like we lost a couple people, but one of them was personal. One of them I just found out today, and it wasn't anyone I knew personally, but it was someone who was pretty closely associated with my mom, someone else in my family, and so I've got to find some time later to kind of check in. So I think that's distorting my sense of who passed away. But yeah, I saw that James Caan died. There was some stuff in his... they start running the sort of the biography reels, right? All the work that they did, all of his films and stuff. And it's funny. I was like, so my family's really into Elf, as one of our holiday movies. And I was like, oh yeah, he was, he's Buddy's dad in Elf. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Was that James Caan? That couldn't have been James Caan. I started thinking about James Caan and some of the other roles he did. And I'm like, is this the same guy? And it just made me realize how versatile he could be. You know what I mean? I love how he could do that. The doing the really, really tough guy, going from that to something more like sort of self-effacing and fun. And yeah, it's too bad. We're losing so many really, really good actors. I found out here's the other one. I found out this last week that one of my favorite musicians passed away like 2 years ago. He was older. He was 83. He was a musician named Harold Budd. If you don't know him, you can't really be faulted. Like, he's not mainstream at all. He did this minimalist. Minimalist. That's a neat sound. Minimalist piano. And he worked a lot with some of my other favorite artists. He worked with Brian Eno. Did a couple albums. This is all super, super low key. Like, this is good music. Like, if you just want to kind of relax, you know what I mean? Like, take a nice hot bath. Well, actually, don't take a nice hot bath while doing this. There's a chance you'll drown. Like, fall asleep. And anyway, the point is, he does this minimalist music that's really relaxing. And, also worked with not just Brian Eno, but, oh my gosh, all of a sudden, again, name thing, right? All the time with a name thing. I'm going to be silent for a moment. Robin Guthrie, Cocteau Twins guitarist, now does like atmospheric ambient guitar. So he and Harold Budd did some work together too. Really, really beautiful stuff. Like, always somewhere in one of my playlists. And yeah, so Harold Budd was, I think, 83 when he passed. And he passed away of COVID. He passed away very early on in the pandemic, probably before it was widely known what was going on, before all the hubbub. So yeah, that sucked too. He played Mississippi in El Dorado, your favorite movie. I did not know that is your favorite movie. I gotta write that down. I like watching. It's this is a cool way to connect with people. You find something that they really like, you go check it out. It doesn't have to be something you love. It's just you're watching it because you're gonna see that other person reflected in it a little bit. I will check that out. Yeah, so there's a lot of that lately, right? A lot of stuff going on. So, I mean, yeah. Well, on that note, why don't I'm just going to back out of here. I mean, that's the important stuff. This that I'm doing here, this is all just silly, goofy, let's pass some time. This is context so that we can talk. That's all this is. Do I have anything in there? I don't have anything in there. Do I have any lead? I have some lead. Oh, man. But thank you for the condolences, too. Yeah. This is someone that I heard about a lot growing up. He was basically my mom's boss for a number of years in the department where she worked. And I think I knew his son, too. I think we were about the same age. So, but yeah, I just saw his obituary today. Alright, I'm not wearing any of my, armor or anything. I gotta go put that on. Let's do that real quick. Figure out what we're going to do with this game today before we switch gears and maybe start talking about other stuff. Because like I said, last week, that conversation we had was just a blast. Not that we have to repeat that. It's fun to just hang out. Some weeks, you just want to hang out and blow stuff up. We'll see. We'll play it moment to moment here, see how it goes. Alright, so we'll move that over, do that here. Armor. We'll put that on that. So we'll put on the backpack and the glasses, put on the armor. Do I have any? I can't really. Yeah, sure. We'll go ahead and eat that. It's going to spoil anyway, right? Oh, poison me a little bit. That's nice. Drop that. We don't want that thing. Okay. I think I might have some goodies in here. Yeah, it's... Ooh, I've still got the brain bombs, and they're going to go bad if I don't actually eat them up. So, like it's actual food. I worried half as much about the actual food in my actual fridge. I wouldn't have to clean it out nearly as often. Play a little game of what the hell was that. All I know is it's in a little Tupperware dish, and I don't think that color has an official name. Let's see. We'll go to the scoreboard. Have I gone through everything? Where am I? Who am I? We've got couple. Ooh, okay. We got more carpet coming up here. Some more power armor paint I don't care about. This is kind of one of the next ones only because it's like actual money. So, waiting for that one to come up. We're not going to get there tonight. Let's take a look at the challenges. You know, I should say too, complete an event in the Toxic Valley region. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we're not collecting all that wood. We're just not doing that. It's a boring. Bethesda. Boring. Collecting 50 wood? Come on. Make some challenges here that are fun. Eviction notice. Yeah, we'll try it. If it comes up and I notice. Weekly. Gold Star Daily. Level up. Yeah, see, I didn't level up 3 times last week. I was going to say, I really did not play this game outside of the stream. I think I spun it up once or twice to get some free stuff, and other than that, left it alone. Claim workshops, collect purified water, no daily offs, get drunk a lot. Alright, we have stuff to do. How is my lead supply? Let's actually check that before I go too. Recently started watching a Netflix show called PT Blinders. I watched the first 3 episodes of that, I think. Here, you and your mom spent all day watching it. Fun. Nice when you find a show like that you can just kind of lose yourself in for a while. Yeah, what's that guy's name who's in that? He played Scarecrow in Batman Begins. What is his name? I want to say it's something like Keelan or something like that. I can't. I know I'm getting it wrong, but it's something like that. Really like his acting. So I enjoyed it. It's just one of those things that there's so many things out there right now that I'll start watching something and then get distracted by something else, or I'll just skip TV for a while, and then we canceled Netflix for I don't know how many months, so we just didn't want to see anything. Now we've got it again, and we don't watch it nearly as much as we should, considering what we're paying for it. It's like, no, there's stuff on there I want to see. I want to see the latest, Stranger Things and all that. And who has time? Who has time to see it? Oh, you haven't seen The Batman Begins? Okay, yeah. He actually does a really good job. Plays Scarecrow in that. Interesting guy. Let's see. We're looking at lead here. Lead scrap, 173. That's not bad. I guess we'll try to do one more lead run. Just because. I don't know that there are a lot of, general, just go out and kill stuff things. We got level up, complete events. Those are all the weeklies. No, okay, I guess some of them are. Events, eviction notice, cooking meal, plants or fungi. That's easy enough. Daily challenge. Kill creatures, 20 of them. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Let's head north. We'll go kill things. I'll tell you, though, some of the things, since we were talking about some controversial things last time, a lot of the time I'll go back and I'll just put my stream on in the background. Sort of I know a lot of people, actors say they don't like seeing their work and stuff. Some people don't like hearing their own voice. I listen to them because I'm kind of like, how often am I going, how often do I start a sentence, break it off in the middle, and start a new topic? Break that one off in the middle, start a new topic. It's one of those things where I listen to it so it bugs me, so that I start becoming more aware of it as I'm doing this, Let's see. I want to see that actor's name. Killian. I knew I'd get it wrong. Killian Murphy is the guy's name. Peaky Blinders is good, but later it's mostly just people killing, doing drugs, drinking, smoking, and making children. What is it? No, a lot of shows do that. I was just watching True Crime recently and stopped because it started to get into that mode. Initially it was this dark, mysterious sort of a thing. There's this contention, this tension that's building between the two main characters, and then it just turns into going and doing drug busts and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, a little too standard fare. If you're gonna have that stuff in there because it fits into the story, fine. Move through it quickly. Focus on the stuff that's particular to the the deep emotional stuff, the things that build to something. I mean, how many different shows have we seen where it's just like you described, it's just people killing, doing drugs, drinking, smoking, and of course, everyone's favorite, making the children. Yeah, my favorite shows are good examples, I think, of where they don't get into that. Which one of them is Breaking Bad, which is kind of interesting that they don't really fall into that. I mean, there is all those things, but those are not they're not sort of like the main thing on the show. They're there because of what it's about. You can't avoid it, Oh, yeah, there we go. Hello. I forgot to check and see if there's even any lead over there. Oops. Down here so I don't die while I'm reloading. Alright, back up here, and one for you. Oh. Oh! That's the risk of the low health build. And down I go. Well, the problem is it time skips so much, like months or years at a time. Interesting. Yeah, that too. Like, oh, why, what? Oh, there. Yeah, I can take shows that do that if it's threading together well, right? I hate it when that just doesn't work. Are you serious? So I just drank a bunch of toxic goo for nothing. Whatever. There we go. Whoops. And there's no lead. Drat. Eh. You guys aren't worth my bullets. Hop up. Come on. Just because. Alright, where else to go? There. Leader of the pack. I don't think they have anything that needs like legendary weapons. It's a good place to go if you want to get a bunch of legendaries. We don't. Let's go. I got my tent there already. Let's go raid that silo. Well, when something big happens, like the main guy gets shot, the next scene says 3 years later, then he's like Mr. Moneybags in the city, and it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Generally trying to foster the interest, like, hey, how did he go from that? Like, how did he escape death? How did he go from that to being so well off? Let's find out. And it's like, well, maybe if you're really into... Where did I go? That's weird. I feel totally lost here. Where the heck am I? Wait a minute. Sorry, I gotta figure out where I'm going. That way? Really? Oh, there it is. Weird. Okay, well, that's a little... Okay. I'm okay now. Why is it closed? Yeah, if you aren't interested in the character, like if you're like really deeply invested in the character, if the fact that they have money is somehow like anathema to them, you know what I mean? It like violates their principles or something. You're like, oh, but wait, but they were this, you know, they were dedicated to helping the poor. What's he doing to them? You know, where basically you're already invested, and there's something to suggest that there's been some kind of dangerous or problematic change. Maybe like there are definite ways that you can, and it's still not going to be everyone's cup of tea, right? That kind of story. But if you can maintain those questions and keep people interested in the, okay, well, how do we connect those dots? Awesome. Cool.
Scheduled access detected. Activating security system alpha.
But if it's starting to feel kind of random and like there isn't a lot of substance to, or weight, gravitas to any of the things that are happening, and you're just like, this is a weird, random, out of order sequence of events I don't especially care about, then yeah, not going to be a fun ride. I don't know. Could be that, could be any number of things. I don't know. Hello?
Identify yourself.
Nope, nope, nope. I'm biased though, honestly. The a lot of the stuff I like does that kind of jumping around. But whoop. Who else has been here? Well, they didn't take the lead, so I'm good. Time slips don't bother you. They happen in The Walking Dead a handful of times with the but with that, he completely changed. It just didn't fit together well. Yep. Yeah. So I've got time skips in the thing that I'm working on where there's a couple different split time frames that all sort of loop together. And oversimplifying it in the interest of keeping it short, but like let's pretend that I've built a respectable sort of a story about this guy who meets his, the person who he's going to fall in love with, who's going to be his wife when he's a teenager, and she's got this kind of a strange background, but hey, she's awesome and all this, and then you jump ahead and you see that he's living in a completely different city, and he's missing an eye. She is nowhere to be seen, and he doesn't appear to remember her. That'll, some people not going to like that. I like it. I'm going to try to write it. A lot of the story, it culminates in kind of how he connects the dots. Comes back to remember more of what happened. But again, to me, it's if you're going to do that, you've got to have sufficient interest to have someone asking questions that they actually care about. If you try to do this with a character that someone doesn't care about, it's going to just flop. I'm personally okay with things that don't seem to make sense. If those discontinuities pose a question that makes you go, whoa, wait a minute, how do we get from here to there? And there's something at stake or whatever, it's interesting. But not having seen this show, I have no idea what that's about. So the thing about in my story about the guy losing his eye too, I've talked a lot about the fact that I draw a lot from folklore. A really common story about the hidden people. I don't like calling them fairies because when I say fairy, what do you picture? Right? I'm if you'll pardon me, I'm not gonna. I'll kind of wait for an answer, but also kind of jump in here and say, a lot of people's when you say fairy, it's colored by Disney, and if not Disney and Tinkerbell and that kind of thing, then by the sources that those drew from, which is like Victorian, a certain period in Victorian England. Yeah, Tinkerbell. Yeah, exactly right. A certain period in Victorian England where fairies became these little teeny people with pretty little sparkly wings, blah, blah, blah. And that's not where the story started. The idea of the fairy was, like this other place. And the people who were there were like, you called them things like the good people or whatever because you were kind of afraid that they might come and burn your house down. They seemed to have a deep take on the world and everything. They seem to be sort of untouchable in many respects. There are all these rules that they came with and the place where they lived and all this kind of stuff. Also, I don't know why, but you think of gnomes. No, totally. No, they're right there in the same family, right? Those are all parts of modern conceptions of this idea of people who they're humanoid. They have a lot of humanoid characteristics. They live alongside us, but they're hidden somehow. There's the idea of magic or something associated with them. when you go back and look at a lot of the stories about that place, and like I said, I'm not going to call it fairy anymore. I'm going to call them either the good people or the hidden people, the hidden folk or whatever. Really common story was this idea that someone goes to where they live. And the story about what happens when they're there varies from story to story quite a bit. But while they're there, they notice that the people there will take either some kind of salve or a powder and they'll put it in their eyes. And then they go out. And so the person is curious naturally. And so they take some of the stuff when none of them are looking and they put it in one of their eyes. Not both. And that's important. They only put it in one of their eyes. And then they manage to escape from this place because the idea is that they don't have a lot of liberty as to, they're maybe trapped there. Maybe they ate some of the food and they're told now that they can't leave or this sort of thing. But anyway, so they get out and they realize that they can now see this other world that's right adjacent to ours. They'll see people from it walking around, that other people can't see. Well, the stories typically end the same way. And that is that this person who has sort of this sight in one eye loses that eye. They either kill them outright or they just take the eye or blind them somehow so that they can't see the hidden world anymore. And so the guy losing his eye in the story is kind of hearkening back to that. Like throughout the story, he can see odds and ends of different things through that eye. Like he can see other stuff going on. And it's all posed in such a way that it's meant to kind of blend in with ordinary life, but he can see stuff. He's otherwise nearly blind in that eye. He actually can't see a lot, but every once in a while something shows up that he can't quite explain. So you find that out very early in the book, and then at the end, again, that eye is missing. So he's moved somewhere else. He can't remember anything from the early part of his life, or he can remember very little anyway, and his eye's he was in an accident or something and his eye is gone. And it all connects. It all connects to this person that that he was connected to, that he met when he was younger. It all kind of ties together. But it's also not a once and done sort of a thing. Oh, sorry, I saw your comment. I just keep forgetting to comment on it. That did I ever see the Spiderwick Chronicles? Yes, I did. It's been quite a few years since I've seen it, though. I remember liking it. I remember it is a little bit more traditional fairydom kind of a thing, which I honestly kind of shy away from for personal preference, really. But I like that. I remember enjoying the film. Other examples of things that to me fall into this idea of the hidden people being strange, dangerous, and not the Victorian idea of what the hidden people are would be something like, and this is going to sound really weird, but Twin Peaks. The more you watch Twin Peaks and you hear about the Black Lodge, Bob, the one-armed man, the arm, the man from another place, the doppelgangers, the phrase, fire walked with me, the fireman, all these bizarre characters who live in this sort of other place that is represented, I think, just brilliantly. Through all those scenes you see in the red room with the curtains and everyone's talking back, they filmed it backwards, but then they play it backwards, so everyone's movements are really weird, and their voice sounds strange, and the dialogue is seemingly semi-random, and kind of, that whole, you got in the first scene with Agent Cooper and the man from another place, he's kind of turns to him and goes, I've got good, I'm not going to try and mimic the voice, but he says, I've got good news. That gum you liked is coming back in is going to come back in style. And you're like, what does this have to do with anything? I'll say David Lynch I don't think does anything at random like you might think he does. He just allows a lot of, I think he's got a lot of depth that he builds, even he hasn't necessarily delineated and identified behind the scenes, and he's perfectly content to let just the barest tip of that iceberg show on film. And so it looks really strange and super disconnected, but the more you watch it, the more you kind of let it come together, you're going to see that it's all connected underneath, you know. Anyway, that's a good example to me of something that is more towards a modern idea of what those things might be like. You know, they look like us. they they look like us, but again, they've got their own food and their own rules and their own sort of ways, and they're bizarre and frightening, and I love it. Twin Peaks is easily one of my favorite series. I don't know that David Lynch would think of it that way, honestly. I'd be curious to know, but like any artist who, where you get a sort of a strong, devoted following around their work, he's had a lot of people who kind of come up to him and go, "Hey, really about this?" And the answer is unilaterally no. Like, he has his own thing, you know. It's naturally you watch something like that, you can't help but bring your own thing to the table. But that doesn't mean that he necessarily had anything like that in mind when he was making it, right? The otherworldly thing reminds you of that, and that the creatures are kind of malicious at times. Yes, exactly. Love that about the movie. So I like the way your book's in. Oh, thank you. Yep. Well, I'm hoping someday I can actually share it with you and other folks. I'm still hopeful. Like, at this rate, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I have enough time stretching forward to do what I want to do with it, but I'm content to spend my time trying. I tell you, when you give yourself free reign, like, you're not working within some of the sort of conventional, established, this is what they look like. And you see a lot of books, and there's definitely a fandom out there that likes this sort of thing, where they'll talk about the Seelie Court and the Unseelie Court. And the Unseelie Court are sort of like the bad fairies. You can tell from my tone of voice, which is not on purpose. Like, the people who like that sort of thing, they liked what they like, and more power to them. It fits more into the sort of traditional, conventional idea of the stories as they have evolved through a lens of Victorian culture, and the Victorian culture combined with, I think, a certain amount of nostalgia as we look back at that culture. And some people kind of like the fashion and the art and the design from that period, and it all gets wrapped up, and that's part of the reason that they like those stories. But yeah, I'll always like the ones that assume that they kept changing along with us. That if there are these sort of hidden people, that they're living alongside us, and they're not static. So they're not going to look like they did way back then. They looked like that way back then because that's how people dressed. Maybe sometimes they kind of stay out of sight, and they may disappear for a little bit. When they come back, they're a little out of date. I kind of play with that idea a little bit. But beyond that, they are not totally disengaged from the world, But it's very fun to take the story. I find it fun to take all those stories and come up with your own conception of it. Like, what, when the main character goes and sees where she's from, where she grew up, it's based on where a place where I grew up, which is out in the Redwoods, way out in the boonies. But it's also its own thing. Like, imagine a version of, you go out in the Redwoods, and these are already ancient trees. But what if this were in a sort of a little bit of a isolated place where time moved a little differently, and so the trees that are there are actually even older than the redwoods that we know in day-to-day life. Like, it's an even more ancient place. Physically, it's fun to think about this place that might be sort of sealed off, like it's thinking about the actual physics of it, where you don't have to play sci-fi. You don't have to, come up with a perfect, rationalized conception of how it all works, but you can kind of base it loosely on some ideas so that when you're writing it, you kind of got your own rules that you play by, and it creates a deeper sense of consistency in what you're doing, You don't have to make every little thing up. Some of it is, suggested to you or dictated to you by the rules that you're basing all this on, you know. Anyway, it's kind of fun. I always, you know, besides the writing thing, I also played role playing games growing up, and it was the same kind of fun. It was, let's take this thing, let's take some of the basic expectations and question them again. You know, try to look at them through a like a new lens, a fresh perspective, get a new take on them, and then surprise people with them. But yeah, one of the things I like best about the stories, again, is that to the people who told the original stories, I've said this before, I'll say it many times again, that these were not strange tales as much as they were day-to-day life. That if someone was talking about how a ferry road ran through their house, that was a serious thing. It was time to rebuild part of your house, because otherwise you're going to tick them off and they're just going to burn your house down. You know, so you'll find certain places where, you know, like the corner on a home may have been like rebuilt or partially moved or something, because they came to trust that they had built it in a bad place. There's something getting ready to attack me. What is that? But yeah, it was real to them, you know. It was just part of day-to-day life. Hey, Nikki, how are you doing? Howdy back at you. Which, if you say that out loud enough times, sounds like you're speaking a foreign language. Howdy back at you. Yeah, supernatural ghost stuff. Yep. Supernatural on one level, but also strangely natural on the other. Like, if you view these things as just sort of an extension of the physical world, again, it leads to a whole bunch of interesting philosophical consequences. So, I'm a bad person. Every time I come through here, I'm really tempted to be like, you know, like they're acting all sort of tough, and I've been a couple times they've been mouthy, you know. It's like, I could totally take you out. Nice to have everyone here. Ooh, spoiled meat and vegetables. Them is useful. Check out the sales. We will. We'll go see what they got for sale. Nikki, how's your week been? I'm hoping it's been better. I know things have been rough lately. Based on our last conversations. Hoping things are doing better for you. Oop, we don't want to go through there. New game coming out. You're looking forward to it. Oh, okay. What's the game coming out? Because I got one too. I actually have two. At least. 2, 3, 2. I lose track. Hey, there's a chemistry bench too. Perfect. Digimon RPG Online. Different one that I'm thinking of, but cool. That's awesome. So is it like that was based on, you played a version of that before, didn't you? Is it new, or is it like a re-release or a big update, or what's going on with it? A nocturnal left arm. Sounds handy. You play Digimon Masters. See, okay, yeah. I see Digimon and I'm like, why they're all the same? Like, I lose track of what's what. So what's new with this one? Digimon, kind of like Pokemon. I would say yes, but I don't play either of them, and I'm kind of wondering if them's fighting words. This is a re-release of a game you'd never heard of before. Okay, well, cool. Multiplayer, like massively multiplayer online, open world, that sort of thing. I was like helping people out by buying stuff, but there's nothing here today. Alright, let's do this. Let's go to Serendipity, take that off. Alright. Craft. Turn-based... Excuse me. Frog in my throat. Man. Turn-based battle. Okay. Can't figure if Jamie's laughing at my choking or the thems be fighting words. Or both, you know. Well, that's cool, though. I'm sitting here trying to remember the names of the different Digimon that you liked playing, that you liked from the other game, and they're escaping me. I can almost picture them. The Digimon I can picture a little bit more just because they seem a little bit more like abstract and weird than stuff on the Pokemon side. I mean, it's all a little bit of a mystery to me anyway, but I remember there being some Digimon, I'm looking at them and going like, that's interesting. I see what you glued together there. Smelt. Yes, we're going to smelt some aluminum. We're going to smelt some rotten meat. And also smelt some vegetables. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of stuff coming out in the next months. Mainly because I've got a couple of games I actually intend to play coming out, so... I'm not laughing that you're choking the pee. Oh, dear. Well, welcome to my family. What's that word? There's a word for that. Schadenfreude. I'm probably saying it wrong. It's a terrible thing. Like I said, we're terrible people. Digimon and Pokemon are completely different franchises. Yes, that is true, mind you. Saying they're the same thing is kind of like saying Japan and China. Oh, Japan and China are virtually the same country. Okay, point taken. I believe you. That's a really interesting analogy, though. I'm going to say, yep, them's be fighting words. Whoop, no. Pete, get me out. Oh. Dang it. So, the problem with those is that they heal your rad levels. And so now I'm healthier than I was, which is bad, because being healthy, ironically, makes me weak. So now I gotta figure out where to, like, poison myself. I know where to poison myself. I'm gonna do this. We're going to go here, activate the junk trunk, and we'll fast travel up there. You do that with your family too, though. Yeah, no, totally, right? Yeah, yeah. Like, there's concern at the same time, but also laughter. Like, you're probably fine. I'll go ahead and just laugh. The Crystal Shard. I can't do the voice at all, but I'm referencing a movie. Bonus imaginary points if you can name the movie. And somewhere up here, I put... So, Nikki, what specifically are you looking forward to in the game? How's it different? Do it. Do the thing. Oh, there we go. No? It didn't really work. Let's try again. There we go. That's probably enough. Do I not have the right thing enabled? You got a new game called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Yeah, I've heard about that. It's basically Borderlands mixed with Pokemon, and on Xbox the servers are so bad. That's not what I was hoping for. Are so bad, they freeze every couple minutes for like 5 minutes at a time. That sucks. Let me tell you. Pokemon, the creatures are more like animals than people, even though they have human-like intelligence, and people train them up through actual physical activity and have multiple alongside them. Okay. Do I not? Yeah, I've got Nerd Rage enabled. Why is it not activating? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Let's go. If no, someone else has it. Nah, boo. All right, how about down here? Oh no, they don't have that one. Let's go do that one. Yeah, my experience with Pokemon, aside from just seeing it everywhere, right, was I can't remember why. I don't know if I started it up or it just happened to be on, but I started up the show, and there was a bear in the show, and the bear was going bear, 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 and I'm like, is there a problem with why is the bear saying bear over and over again? And that was kind of the end of it. Like I didn't actually. I'm like, okay, this is nope, not for me. Digimon can talk and live. Oh, okay, and live in societies like ours, and get stronger by strengthening their bond with their human partner. And typically, humans always have one Digimon beside them. Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember you. I think you were telling me about. You might have been at one point telling me about the movie that they did. I'll say this. So I remember some of the only film I've seen in the last I don't know how many years. Most of it's been anime. There's the Fathom Events runs regular like Studio Ghibli films during certain times of the year, and then there was like Weathering with You and all this. So anyway, that doesn't really matter. One of them I went to, and they ran a trailer for what was kind of labeled as the last Digimon movie. And I gotta say, it actually looked like it had a really good, strong, emotional sort of a push. You know what I mean? Like really strong emotional content. And it had to do with that bond, right? Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yep, I should be on for a while. I'm just kind of chilling. So do what you got to do. I hope I get to see it in a little bit. So cool. Let's see. Oh, and I got the special $100 edition. So you're disappointed in the Quarry game you played. The game was so dark and it doesn't give you flashlights, and it was unplayable even with full brightness. Jeez, that sucks. Yep, I was going to say, I heard the little beeping sound. Means it's occupied. Anyone else? Just the one died, really? Okay. So yeah, it was interesting. The Digimon movie, which again, like in my head, I tend to make no apologies. I just didn't grow up with it, so I have sort of a, less immediately emotional connection to any of those sorts of, not genres, those franchises, right? Those things. So when I see something like the Digimon trailer coming on, I'm immediately going like, it's probably not going to be for me anyway. I will just tune out here for a little bit. But it looked to me like the story had something to do with sort of this, like they were older, they were about to sort of lose their connection to the Digimon. I don't know. It just they did a good job in kind of making it look like, again, it had a really good emotional arc in it. I'd be curious to see kind of how that one worked out, what people thought of it. My phone is buzzing, and I don't know why. Are you kidding me? It's 9 o'clock already? Good heavens. How did that happen? Oh well. Late start tonight. Alright, I gotta do, what are we gonna do? Blueprints. We're doing blueprints. We're gonna do one of those. Do that thing, and also do that thing. Get some lead out of this. Lock it up because I'm selfish. Since Nikki's gone, Digimon and Pokemon sound a lot alike. Digimon and Pokemon sound a lot alike and very ignorant about. Yeah, the same. Like, yeah, I know. Like I said, I know that bears say bear on Pokemon. I know that Pika is like sparkle. It's like an onomatopoeic sound in Japanese. And so Pika is sparkle, and Chew is like squeak. And so when I heard that Pikachu basically means sparkle squeak, and you know it's got the electric tail and stuff, I'm like, electric mouse. Okay, gotcha. That is the extent of my knowledge. This, despite my children's many conversations, I wouldn't say attempts to teach me because I think they know better, but lots of conversations about them. And my son used to like actually collect the cards and play the game and stuff. So I've been adjacent to it for a long time, but I know no one aside from Nikki who actually plays any, like, is into the Digimon stuff. So I know very little about it. See if we got anything else to scrap here. Nope. Yep, here comes the job. Why don't we do this? Because they're just going to go to waste anyway. Take the brain bombs. And I'm going to eat them. Nom. Put the spoiled meat in here. Put those away. So yeah, next week, no Fallout. Next week we're gonna be playing probably all Stray. I took off the day from work next week for the game release, which I've done once or twice in the past where I just kind of want to like disappear into a game. Most of the time I've done that, it's been an accident. Like, it wasn't a planned thing. When I started playing BioShock 2, it was over the holidays, and I had taken like 2 weeks off from work for Christmas, and ended up parking my recliner, like pushing the recliner almost all the way up against our TV screen so I could sit there and just like disappear into it, playing until the sun came up. Like, oh my gosh, I was into that game. Freaking awesome. Oh, hey guys. Didn't see it already shown up. Yep, come group together. Good. Say cheese. You collected Pokemon cards, but didn't really care enough to play. But you played the Game Boy games. Yeah, see, I totally missed a lot of the handheld game revolution thing. I was at a point where I would have liked to have played that stuff when it was coming out, but I was broke. There's some very thin years there where I kind of lost track of games, mainly because I was like a starving student, and it was just inaccessible, you know? Like, all the Nintendo 64 games I ever played were like big special occasions where I'd rent the system in a few games. And that's, oh my gosh, the Star Wars game that was on Nintendo 64. Both the 007 GoldenEye which I know by today's standards looks goofy, maybe, but oh wow, that one and the Star Wars game were absolutely amazing. I can remember just not eating enough, like while playing those games, actually getting a little sort of like sweaty and sick because I was playing too long, which everyone wants to hear about, I'm sure, but you know what I mean. Pocket monsters, yeah, Pokemon. Pokemon is, I can't remember what you call this term, but it's in Japanese, yeah. Poke refers to pocket and mon refers to monsters. There are a lot of words in Japanese that kind of follow that pattern, like convenience store is, and I'm going to pronounce it very poorly. I don't have good Japanese pronunciation, but konbini, well, it's not really a combination of words, but it's an approximation to it. I had a friend who one of his favorite ones was I can't do it. Makrodonarudos. And Makrodonarudos is McDonald's in Japanese. I wish I could pronounce that better. I just don't practice enough. Alright, we did this. We got the lead. Now what? What do we gotta do? We gotta kill more things. Kill a creature. We've only got 12 out of 20. Where are some more, like, where's a big gathering of creatures to wipe out here? Where can we go? And what event was it I've got to do? Complaint event in the toxic eviction notice. Eviction notice, I don't think I have my armor really ready. Resident Evil in Japan is called Biohazard. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Huh. That's interesting because they also make, like, where they construct names out of English words. A lot of the times they end up sounding like Resident Evil sounds like a sort of a Japanese creation using English words. Trying to think of some other ones that they've done that where you look at the names of things and you're like, okay, it's just a label. I don't know what it means, but I guess at least I'll remember it. Except in this case, of course. Where are just some general creatures to blow up? Oh, actually, I know. I could go back up there, but we're not gonna. Let's just go to Morgantown. Lots of stuff around here to kill. Uh-oh. What was that? I'm guessing that my cats are trying to feed themselves. I think they knocked something off the counter. We have one cat that kind of... He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he seems to recognize language for what it is, because you'll say something to him and he'll try to answer back. Why aren't you glowing? Special gun just for you. There we go. And for the whole nightclub thing, I think I figured it out tonight. In fact, I should do this later tonight. I'm just going to post on Reddit in one of the Fallout groups, basically saying, hey there, I am looking for the mirror ball plan. If you have a spare and would like to sell it and you play on PC, let me know. Let me know how much you want for it. See if I can arrange to just buy one from someone. Because I have not seen Grom for ages in this game. Like, as far as I know, he moved away. There we go. Alright. Complete an event in the Toxic Valley region. Is that down here? Is that what this is? So we've got... Oh, Dual Horde. Yeah, we can do that. Oh, and yeah, I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. So, the Tomorrow Children, that other game that I've been looking forward to play, they finally announced the release date. That will be coming out. Yeah, well, I take a nap here. Ah, gotcha. Anyway, that's going to be coming out September 6th. So, yeah, playing Fallout this week. I may play sporadically kind of on my own off stream, but then starting next week, we're going to be playing Stray and see how long that goes. I honestly haven't. It'll be interesting to find out like how long that game is. And does it have any kind of ongoing play value? Is there any exploratory thing? Are there challenges? No idea. Could be a relatively short story game for all I know. But at least 1 week, maybe 2. And then after that, if that lasts long enough, we'll go straight from there to the Tomorrow Children. Saying my cat is in the sharpest tool in the shed makes you think the cat's looking. He's not quite. He might try, honestly. I've never seen him do it, but yeah, we have a couple. We have 3 cats. One of them is super smart and personable and everything, and he just makes the other one look even more dense, frankly. Don't you? The smart one's wandering around here by my feet. Sometimes too smart for his own good. Okay, what am I doing? Last Death. So we went there, seeing like it's supposed to light up a bunch of little rings showing where you're supposed to go next. They aren't here. Alright, all done. That was fun. Where else do we go? No other events going on. It's not showing the events because I died. Never mind. Hang on. Respawn there. We'll see if they show up in a minute. I forgot they do that. Oh, yeah. There we go. 4 out of 4 searched. Really? What the heck is going on? Yeah, that's weird. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. That's not it. Is there any kind of 4th of July event? Oh, that's a good question. I totally forgot. You mean in the game, I guess? I should ask context. Oh, there's a thing. Breach and clear. I don't like that one. But it's here. We'll do it. Fine. No. They make it hard just to click on things. There we go. I don't know that there was. If there was, I totally missed it. To tell how invested I am at this point.
Attention. Possible agitator presence detected near breach site. Location must be cleared before breach can occur.
Yeah. That way? Yeah, and Fallout 76. Yeah, I don't know that they did, honestly. I mean, they had some themed stuff in the store, like they usually do, right? They had a bunch of red, white, and blue armor and that sort of thing. But I don't remember any actual, like, interactive events or anything being different. I think aside from selling some Uncle Sam themed merchandise in the store, it was pretty much business as usual.
Please evacuate to a safe distance immediately.
It's funny, I thought you were talking about the actual holiday, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, basically, we lit some sparklers and ate 4th of July food. It was a nice day, I mean, even that's kind of it's a little more subdued than it used to be, maybe. Sure, we'll do this.
Now.
Got a surplus of acid, so why not do this?
Warning.
Do that.
Additional agitators closing on breach site.
Oh no, not that.
Activate riot defense procedures.
We'll wait till they get here. We got time. Where else? Where are the other ones? Back up a little so we can see them better. Anything up there? Oh, there's one. There's that. Yeah, so the thought that I didn't complete earlier just randomly came back to mind, and that's that given the nature of some of the things that we were talking about last week, I went back and listened to what I was saying to see if I bumbled through any of it. I have to say I was actually kind of okay with it. There were a couple things where I felt like I left out some, kind of like I do, where, like I said, I'll start in the middle of an idea, or I'll start an idea, kind of cut it off in the middle and switch topics accidentally. But it wasn't as bad as I imagined. So like I said, there have been a lot more views on that particular stream than pretty much anything else I've done for a long time. So that was kind of curious. You know, maybe we'll do a talk show. Get some armchairs.
Unsealing of new containers completed.
Hey guys. Walmart sold red, white, and blue freedom flavored water. It's flavor free. Oh man. Can't remember. No, I did not hear about that. Sounds right up their alley though, honestly. I saw something similar here in like Walgreens. They had some potato chips that were like, you could tell they were trying to market them like to veterans. You know, it was like, you know, we appreciate all the people who whatever. I'm like, you're potato chips. Shut up. You know, like just don't even, man. Just be chips. It's one of those things where all they have to do is make a temporary change to a label on the package, and suddenly it's like, oh yeah, we support this, and it's like, you know what? If you really want to help, awesome, go ahead and help, man. There are a lot of people who need help. I was just hearing some stories this week from some people who have to deal with a VA hospital who can't actually get the care they need. So you know what? Maybe help out some veterans. Help them get the health care that they can't get through the government, which they should be able to do, given that's the whole friggin' point of that system. Do not give me your your specially labeled potato chips with flags on them and act like it's a thing. Get out. It was like cherry, lime, and blue raspberry flavor, but you stopped working to read the bottle completely to find out what freedom flavored was. Yeah.
Final unloading call issued. Repeat. Last call to unload material.
I guess what's more sad is that, you know, there are some people who actually feel sort of, you know, I don't know, like a connection to those sorts of ideas. Like, it makes them feel like they're actually supporting something they like. Like, it's just a label. Whoops. Oh well. I really don't care about any more ore. Let's go deal with these guys. I heard another one running at me. There's the other guy. And we got our 2 events. Brilliant. Only 2 out of the 5 dailies. I'm gonna pick up everything? Why not? We'll just scrap it all here. And don't get me wrong, you know what? Freedom flavor sounds tasty. In a, I wouldn't do this on purpose, but hey, it's here, why not? Sort of way, you know? America, freedom water, shoot guns in the air. Oh yeah. The oh yeah at the end makes me picture the Kool-Aid man actually saying that. That's a new name for Kool-Aid, is freedom water. Oh yeah. Goes busting through the walls of the Capitol. Jeez. So have you, curious, have you watched any of the hearings, the January 6th things? That's what my family's doing for fun these days. That doesn't say anything about what fun, you know, what's going on. Sit there in a combined state of shock and disbelief and whatever else goes along with all that. Oh, man. Don't get me wrong. Like, I still stand behind the core principles that America was founded on. I just don't think we've ever lived them out. Oh, this is the January 6th hearings where they're hearing from witnesses about the riots in the Capitol on January 6th. They have been broadcasting the testimony. So this is where I love and hate this story at the same time. You're hearing things like reports that Trump was apparently really, really pissed that they would not drive him to where people were gathering. You know, like his driver, Secret Service guy, you know, knew way better than to do that. And wouldn't, just refused, you know, like just would not do it. And Trump apparently got so ticked that he's in the back seat of this car. He sits forward. He sits forward and tries to grab the steering wheel. Like, the man thinks he's going to drive the car from the back seat to get himself to the... I don't, like, he's not even thinking at this point, right? He's just... And when that doesn't work, he apparently... They didn't say that he, like, tried to strangle the guy. But they were talking about how, he like, grabbed the guy by the shoulders. Like, he basically trying to wrestle the driver to get him to do what he wants. It's just nuts. Absolutely bonkers. Anyway, it really has been interesting to listen to, but it's also depressing if depending on your take on things. Whoop! No, not dang it. Oh, good. Okay, that one. Keep that. Plasma grenades, that's fine. Yeah, this is from January 6th. Not this year, but the year of the election. was weird. Sounded like there was one behind me. And who's shooting? Oh, it's you. Stop that infernal racket. Owie, who's doing that? My gun wins. Oh, hey, EG, how's it going? Man, it's been a while. How have you been? I've seen the occasional the occasional tweet, but it feels like it's been forever since we've talked. Speaking of which, actually, I'm glad you're here. So, am I streaming on the YouTubes too? I'm supposed to be. I hope I am. You make me wonder, so I'm going to go look. What does it say? Come on, open up. Yep, there we go. I'm on there. I'm glad to hear you're good. So a mutual friend that I happen to work with, or at least I work at the same company, he and I were talking recently, which you'd think because we work for the same company that we might actually talk more often, but it doesn't work out that way because we work in different groups. But we were talking about maybe kind of doing a virtual get-together. You like YouTube because it does picture-in-picture really well. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, Jamie, you're on YouTube. Never mind me. I don't know what I'm thinking. Jamie gets his own special channel. JTV. It has the same logo as YouTube, but, you know, it's its own thing. Okay, I think I've murdered all the people here. Yeah, no, cool. That sounds good. I've been meaning to reach out and look on Discord or something, and it just keeps slipping my mind, as things do. So, help me remember, and we'll see if we can arrange some time. It'd be good to catch up on stuff. But yeah, so said person, I think you know who I'm talking about. Basically, we had a big get-together on a certain topic at work, and he was actually one of the speakers. It was really, really cool. It was awesome. He did great. So we were chatting a little bit afterwards. Alrighty. You watch from YouTube next time since you're already here on Twitch. Okay, that's cool. Let me know how things look on Twitch. I don't do enough monitoring of my own feeds to kind of see how each one really looks, how it's working out. And Twitch tends to be a little touchy, a little twitchy, a little sensitive to performance issues and that kind of thing. Or at least it has in the past. Ooh, I'm almost dead for some reason. Has in the past. So curious to hear how it's doing. Let's try to get through at least the 5 things a day here, right? Like, took a meal of plants or fungi. I can do that real quick. Twitter and Twitch look great. Awesome. Good to hear. Very cool. Yeah, let's head over here. Who's that? I don't know who that is. Go to the Sundew Grove. So yeah, I was saying earlier, so this is my last week for a little bit at least doing Fallout. We're going to try out a different game next week. So one that I've been watching in development, it feels like for about a decade. I don't think it's actually been that long. Probably more like 5-6 years. Somewhere around there. But really looking forward to it. Called Stray. And I think this is over describing it, but when I first saw it, it looked a little bit like parkour for cats. Like you're navigating a city, running along pipes and this sort of thing, but you're a cat. It looks like it's a little bit more linear. And that's putting it mildly. I think it's a lot more linear than it originally looked. Like before it looked like it was more free exploration. It feels like this might be a much more straightforward kind of run the course, go, like game on a rail kind of path. I still think it looks really cool. I think the art looks amazing, so we'll see how it looks. All right, very quickly, let's switch out that for Green Thumb, and we'll pick that one also. Mirror's Edge for cats, yeah, right? Like one of my other favorite games, but with cats. Cats and robots. Cats and robots, and I don't know what it is, but it's like most of the sci-fi art that I end up liking turns out to be French people. This game, Daft Punk, M86, if you've heard of them. I say them, but it's really just like one guy in his band. Make sure I'm not running into a problem here. Let's see, what else? Trying to think, there are other visual artists. Oh, who's the guy who directed The Fifth Element? Fifth Element was a French director. Yes, absolutely. Detroit Become Human. Yet another French director, French sci-fi. Excellent example. In fact, I was watching another streamer play that one today, and it kind of made me want to start it up. So in between, like Astray turns out to be a really short one. It might be kind of fun to break Detroit Become Human back out and give it another shot. I think I've only actually played on PlayStation. So it would actually be kind of fun to try it on PC. Like I played it on PlayStation, and then I basically like created this. Oh, that's interesting. This self-induced rage because I was not accounting for the HDMI delay. Like the way I was running the feed through my PC, so I could stream from there, had a really, really huge delay from the HDMI signal, and so the QuickTime, I was failing all the QuickTime events. Trying not to like break into a cursing fit on stream. Not sure if I succeeded. Probably have enough brain fungus here, I'm guessing. I don't have to actually make that much, so. Set up a kitchen. There you go. I don't even know why I didn't notice the catalyst thing, but there you go. So, EG, have you been doing? I saw. I think you've had some Linux stuff coming up. Have you been doing any other gaming streams or anything? I feel like I'm out of the loop. So long as they aren't shooting at me. Do these one at a time. Yeah. Try to. Okay. That's a fix. That used to be broken. It used to be that if you cooked more than thing at once, they would just count the whole thing as one. So good to see that they have fixed that. It's probably enough. We'll let the rest rot. What is going on over there? Oh, there they are. Let's get up here. And we need that. Interesting fight breaking out. There's half the problem solved. Planning a video on a game this week. Hilarious and frustrating game, but yeah, you want to get back into gaming type videos. Yeah, I'm curious, what game? Okay, I tell you what, since I've probably still got the brain bombs in effect, let's go visit West Tech and just rack up some experience here. How do you even pronounce that? Is that pronounced ready? I've never heard of that. What is it? I'm jotting down all the things I have to go look up after the stream. Meanwhile, I'm going to get killed by super mutants, but that's okay. Interesting. Oh, re-die because you die. Yeah, I totally missed that. Huh, interesting.
So boring.
Whoop. Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you were dead. Die a lot. I mean a lot. Fun. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. So have you heard of the game? It's not released yet. They only have a demo out, but it's a game called Angerfoot. Does that ring a bell? And I'll say I mention it because it's another one that is, you can die a lot. Like if you build up enough skill, I think you can, I think I die a lot because I'm not very good at it. But it has this really fast pace, do the thing, which is a lot of fun. I normally don't like that kind of stuff, but for some reason, this one, just pushes all the right buttons. It's a good, just check out and just kind of run through the thing. It's absurd. It's fast-paced. It's a lot of fun. Highly recommended. So I'm curious. So re-die, what kind of game generation is that from? Is it sort of a retro tech thing, or is it a newer one, or did you say? I can't remember. Did you say it was older? Oh, Danganronpa. Yeah, I looked it up. I haven't I've not obtained a copy yet, but yeah, I think it looks interesting enough to give a try. Put it this way, it looks kind of outside my usual space, but the idea of it looks interesting. It looks like a fun mix of stuff. Oh, this didn't kill him. Keep the finger on the trigger. That was fun. Where was he going? And I'm not going to bother collecting their stuff today. We're just here to kill everyone. Converting everyone into experience points. Not even sure. I'd have to watch the video and see. Not sure what inspired. Okay. Sounds good. Not like it. Standing under the floorboards here and killing all the guys and watching their parts rain down. I feel like I should probably install a shower in my camp. This game it's it's a mix. There are certain things about it I love, and it's a comfort game. And then, I'll go through periods where it's I want nothing to do with it for a while, And getting to where I am right now, where I can kill these guys easily enough, is such an insane grind. And then you look at my health meter. The reason I have my health held down so low with radiation damage is because that's the one reliable, effective way to get really high damage and really high armor, defense, they built all these different systems in the game and different sort of, you can build yourself out with all these different perks and stuff, but really when it comes down to it, there's a very limited number of things that really produce the best results. And so if you really want those results, you do that one thing. Never mind all the rest of the variety that they built into the game. Most of it is kind of useless. Yeah, like you know what might be kind of fun is do a stream where I like take off the perks and the armor and the bloodied build and that whole thing. Like as soon as I level up here, as soon as I get enough experience, I'll show you what it looks like when you're not taking advantage of like these perks like called Nerd Rage and stuff. And that, so the other thing is this gun is definitely overpowered in that it is vampiric. So it fires at a super, super high rate, and every hit gives me some of their health, right? So it's basically a bullet syringe. Like, I can stand here and they can shoot me as much as they want. And as long as I keep the trigger down and I've got ammo, there's no way they're going to actually hurt me. It's totally risk-free at this point. Like, if I die, it really is my own fault. It's just me not paying attention to my stats. Probably some more guys up here. And then that thing where they're all glowing pink most of the time. Again, it's a... oh, there they are. Where you can see them through the walls. That is a drug that also boosts your intelligence a bunch, so you get a lot more experience. And again, I would like it if there were more options. So good counterexample to a game, totally different kind of game, but a really well designed, oh look at that, I can do lots of different things thing would be like Transistor, if you've ever played that. If you haven't played Transistor, I highly recommend it. I don't know if it's really your kind of game or not. It's at least worth a try. Buy it on sale or something. The way their combat system lets you combine all these different sort of strategies, and you can make many, what I found anyway, is that you could make many genuinely useful and effective things from the set of building blocks. It was really cool. And visually, it's gorgeous. They have some of my favorite artists. Like, I didn't like the story much. Not that I thought it wasn't like offensive or even boring so much as it felt like it just didn't go deep enough. Like, they created a really fascinating place and a really fascinating scenario and then just barely skimmed the surface in it. Beyond all that, though, the graphics, the sound, the music, the gameplay, top notch all the way across. They're the ones who did, what was the other ones he did? Oh, what was their first one called? If my son were here, he would be like yelling it at me from across the room. I cannot remember the name of the first one. They also did Hades, though. Hades is like one of their latest things. Whoop! Hey, how'd you get there? There we go. And then there's the legendary Junkies pool stick. That's the best one, right? Yep. And then you got stuff like that where the dude just walks through the door. You know, this is easily a sort of a cash cow for the company. Like, as much as I like playing, like, don't get me wrong, I actually enjoy it. But I play it despite its many flaws and the fact that the game is really, like a lot of pay-to-play sort of things out there, it really works best when you get their monthly subscription, and so therefore you can like store more materials. And that tent, that armored vehicle thing I keep setting up, you know. Oh sure, yep. See you in a minute. I gave this game such a hard time, but I think it deserves it. It can take it. It's thick-skinned. Come on. All the way down here. So I can reach your stuff. That's all I want, just your caps. Killed him and took his milk money. What about you? Yeah, you got caps too. Nuclear waste is handy.
Gone now. Pity.
I have to admit, I am curious, like, this place is part of some bit of the story in the game, right? But I've never actually played out this part of the story. I have no idea how to kick it off. Like, pay to play, win, and have fun. Yep, pretty much. So, yeah, that's the other thing. I kind of look forward to just shutting that down for a while. Redivert it to my keyboards I don't need fund. So yeah, hey, I don't know if I mentioned this. I'm actually learning to solder now. Picked up a keyboard kit, like a numerical pad that you actually have to solder the components in. And I have actually used the soldering iron, and my house did not burn down. So first test, success. Extra success in that I didn't even, like, I came out of it without blisters. You wouldn't even know that I had used a soldering iron. It didn't come out completely unscathed. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Anyway, it didn't come out completely unscathed because I did accidentally breathe some of the lead fumes off the solder, which is, you know, not good. Stop. Get away. But, you know, the effects of that probably won't show up for another 5 to 10 years at least.
Good fight.
Glad you're enjoying it. No grenades. So yeah, you know, it's kind of interesting in terms of the financials of the game. Like, the fact that they charge a subscription doesn't really bug me because I've said many times running servers is very, very expensive. I think they probably charge a little too much, like a lot of people do. But even then, let's see. I'm glad to hear he didn't die, but maybe he'll turn into the Wolverine. That is an extraordinarily hopeful sort of best scenario outcome there. I become that version of the Wolverine that, like, basically just uses the claws for, like, you know, culinary pursuits. Like, yay, I don't have to wash the knives anymore. I can just, you know, cut the vegetables this way. It's like, what about all the bad guys in the world? It's like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's not really my thing. I'm sure someone will take care of them. So, there we go. We leveled up. Awesome. Okay, so let's do this. First of all, drink some water. Take care of the basics. Hey, I got a thing. All right. And every time I say that now, I think about that card game idea. Go away. Let's use some other weapons. In fact, there should be some lying around here, right? What do we got? Let's use an automatic assault rifle. Sure, why not? Oh, a sharpshooter's assault rifle. 66 versus... Take one of each. We'll go fix them up. No other nuclear waste, huh? Well, that's too bad. Your wife says do the dishes, and you poke your claws through the plates and say, whoops, guess we don't buy more, right? Exactly. Hey, I've been running with Super Duper instead of Serendipity. What do you know? Alright, let's just leave Super Duper on there. That'll help. Bloody Mess. Nope, can't have that. Starch Jeans. Yeah, I'm leaving that one on because that doesn't really help, and it'll cause problems if I take it off. Last Laugh, that's fine. Action Draw. Action points regenerate 45% fat. Fine. Evasive. Evasive Adrenaline. Dodgy. Nerd Rage. Demolition. I'm not using those, so I'll leave that there. Anything that basically isn't going to help me, I'm just going to leave there because I don't want to have to think later. Oh, look, I've been running with Hard Bargain, too, instead of the other one. Take off Ironclads. We'll take off Night Person. Oh, Night Person can stay. That's just an intelligence boost. Not using grenades. Oh, we gotta get rid of the heavy gunner things. And also get rid of Strong Back. There we go. Alright, now. Yeah, here, I haven't done this for a while. Actually, it's going to do it this way. That's more like it. Boy. I haven't had to take that much rat away in years, feels like. Starch Genes lets you use rat away without losing your mutation. Exactly. Yep. That's what that does, and I don't want to have to redo my mutate. I could. I've got all the serums. Like, I can just make more, but I'd rather not, so we'll just leave that one alone. Use a stim pack, couple of them. Okay, and then I wonder if I still have brain bombs. Yeah, I still have brain bombs for 42 minutes. I'm not changing that one because those are actually kind of pricey in terms of effort. So, and again, they'll just help with the experience. They don't actually help with combat or anything. Okay, I'm going to drop the propaganda flyer. Just for funsies, right? More rat meat we're going to drop. Ooh, I can't do that because if I do that, I'm going to lose a benefit of brain bombs. That was close. Don't want to do that. Nope, nope. So I have to go hungry for a bit. That's okay. Weapons. Let's try that automatic assault rifle. Yep, there we go. Now we're set. Let's go in this place. So why do all this? This is kind of like, it's more representative of what it's like to play the game, to me. Normally. Without, if you haven't done the hours and hours and hours of grinding to get all this stuff. Yep, any day now. We'll take them out. Okay, reload. Reload. We're almost there. We almost got one kill. Stay back. Stay. There we go. There's one. Wonder what ammo I'm using. I don't think it's anything I really need. Right in the face.
See what the science has made, human.
Yeah, get to hear like everything this guy has ever had to say. There we go. Another one. That's two for the folks who are counting. Now, if I go out there, I'm going to get killed because there are a bunch of them out there. Sneak up here. Ouch. Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We'll try this for a little bit more. 1 or 2 more deaths. I wonder, it seems like I maybe did not drop a grenade back there. Gosh, I'm tired. Like, I can barely walk because all my armor and stuff is too heavy. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should just go home and take a nap. Seriously, this is as fast as I can walk right now. We'll get there eventually. Use my magic vision drugs.
I knew it. Tear you apart.
Where'd you go? Oh! There we go. Ha! Left that one enabled on purpose. Oh, I'm back here again, man. I walked all the way back out there. So this is the game for the first, I don't know, 50 to 100 levels. It's not this bad, obviously. Like, you're getting stuff along the way. But watching someone play at level 300 and up who has... especially someone who takes better notes than I do on the different combinations of perks that you should use, and has found maybe like they've looked harder for better armor and that sort of thing. You know, it is still such a major grind to get to the point where you don't have to do what I'm doing here. So you've really got to find something of interest in the game up to this point. You know, and a lot of it is people, you know, yeah, they do the grind looking for all the stuff they can use to build all that out, you know. That's part of what kept me playing. Really? That's a new one. I haven't heard you guys say that. Let's go. We'll try a different strategy here. Here. Nah, it doesn't really work. Keep using bullets. There we go. God's hand stuck up there. Some people just copy and paste perk loadouts from the internet. Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's, with this game, that's absolutely possible, right? You know? In fact, a lot of people assume that's what you're supposed to do. And again, nothing wrong with playing that way, but it seems a little flat, right? I don't know. To me, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to just go read someone else's manual on this stuff. I don't want to actually think about it, strategize, come up with my own sort of take on all this. So yeah. Oh, I'm not on a team either. I've been wasting experience there. Forgot to join a team tonight. What was that? Why am I reloading my gun as I'm doing this? Okay, Nerd Rage I think we're missing. Nerd Rage. I've had people come, you know, who either watch the stream or that I met in game, and they're like, "Oh, what's your build? What's your?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just kind of, I guess it's this sort of thing." Oh, why don't you have a blah, 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 whatever it is? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Dodgy and evasive. There we go. Serendipity and whoop, can't do bloody. Why can't? Oh, I still have super duper on. That's why. Bloody mess, and we're back. Mostly, did I change? You strategize constantly with the other Fallouts with the perks you take. Yeah, exactly. I based on even just playing 4, that felt like 4 in time you could get so much stuff that it was no longer strategizing. But for the first, I don't know how much of the game, yeah, you're more sort of limited, and so you have to choose which path you're going to take. And more of those paths feel legit. Like I had a build that was basically like pistols and that kind of thing. And it was one of my favorite characters to play in the game. Well, when I came here and tried the same strategy for a very long time, it was garbage. There was no way it was going to work long term, which is, I think, one of the reasons why I never actually sell the 10mm ammo that's used in a lot of the pistols and the smaller machine guns, and that is that they're junk. They're just not viable. So get rid of the heavy ammo. Actually, I should probably check about I'm actually going to have to use the power armor from time to time, and so how charged up is that? That's a full one. Yeah, we're taking that one. I actually need to start saving those again. Okay, so I've leveled up. I moved a spot on the board. I think I'm done with this for the night. I think I've done as much stuff as I care to do. I'm going to go through and so I don't completely waste it. Well, okay, first of all, I got to switch guns back. Tired of hearing myself reload that one gun. Yeah, let's go and gather lead from... Where was it? Oh, yeah, there it is. From the lakeside cabins. We'll head up to the junk trunk and shower. Take a shower, wash off all the gooey super mutants, garbage. I'm at level 399. One more level. One more level. And I'll get up to the next, the next power, not power of 10, but the next multiple of 10. And I have 10 fingers, so that feels really significant. Fallout New Vegas had different ammos like fire breath, shotgun shells, and beanbag shells. That's cool. I didn't know that. Yep. I would still like someone to build a game that's kind of like this, but where you have to figure out how to make your special ammo through a simplified version of chemistry and other things in the game, where you can then test them in a ballistics lab to see if they're even safe to use in a gun. Like, if you could make ammo but you don't have the necessary skill yet in the game, some of it will randomly explode, like, in the chamber, that sort of thing. So you want to make sure that you aren't trying to work too far ahead of your skill set, or it's more of a continuum also, where it's not like get the perk, gain the skill. You got to build things up gradually. Gotta test and experiment, and anyway, yeah, I think it would be cool, but I'm so alone. Alright, done with that place. I think we lost EG, which is unfortunate. I think every time EG shows up too, I kind of go on this Fallout rampage. It's probably like the same thing every time. It's like, oh, he's doing it again. Where am I? Oh, yeah, that's right. I don't live down there right now. I live up here somewhere. I don't know where I live. I live in the yellow house. You want Fallout 5, but co-op would be cool. Yeah, it's a funny thing about the co-op thing is there's some games that in their essence I just love. Mirror's Edge Catalyst that you mentioned earlier. Love that game. Oh my gosh, the music, the running system, like the combat I don't care about. Like, it's not great, but like, I kind of wish they would have focused a lot more on evasion over actually trying to make a combat system in that game. But I don't play it much just because it is so lonely feeling for me. It feels so intensely empty. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, you go by the buildings and you see all the little fake shadow people walking randomly back and forth, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I just can't even be here. And done with that little game. Put those in there. What else do I need to do? I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's right. I knew there was something else. We're going to put the fusion cores in the chest. Those things weigh a ton, though. I'm not sure how many I'm going to be able to save up. And I don't know. If I can get about 5 or so, that'd be okay. Do-do-do-do. In through the layers of security gates into my underground haven, sort of. You can kind of see there's like some natural light up there. You can kind of see some plants. Kind of a cool little spot. Didn't know it was so depressing. You mean Mirror's Edge Catalyst? Assuming you meant that, like, I think it's only depressing for me. It's more a comment on the idea that, like, even though I don't interact with a ton of people in this game, I love the fact that there are other real people running around in the game. It's a weird kind of a, introvert's idea of social interaction. Like, I don't want to talk to people. I just want people. Like, I just want people around, that kind of thing. And when you're playing the main story, yeah, you get to interact with the NPCs and that kind of thing. Yeah, you meant Mirror's Edge. Yeah. So you get to interact with the NPCs. But by the time you're done with the main story and now it's just time to free run around the city, they're all gone. Like, it just empties out. And to me, it feels really hollow. Every non-multiplayer game I've played for a long time has ended up feeling that way. The main game is fine. As soon as the main story is over and they're like, cool, go explore, do other things. I'm like, I try it, and then it's like, this just doesn't feel right. So, all right, let's see. Do I have? Well, yeah, I got the washer and dryer. I don't actually need that. Where's my stuff? Where did I put my stuff? Do I have a? I don't think I have a stash box in here. Huh. Apparently this is where I keep all my clothes. Let's get... where is it? Be nice instead of a linear list if they did something like a little grid here to be able to find stuff. A little grid with little icons maybe. Like use graphics instead of text. Text is fine at first. It's really, really old. Ah, there we go. Swimsuit. Okay. You thought I was kidding about the shower, but no, I'm doing the role-playing thing here. Okay, let's see. Go back and take off the glasses and the backpack. Take off the working clothes. There we go. Content rating appropriate shower. Can't just have the character go to bed with all the super mutant blood and who knows what else on there. Defend lakeside cabins. Nah. Alright. Calling it a day, not for the stream, but for this game. Go try something else out here. Alright. Let's take a look at the scoreboard and see what I got today. I think it's just a pack of cards, right? When you play this, you get the lonely feeling as well because barely anyone on Xbox uses a mic. Right? Yeah. I know. Yeah, I know. I can sometimes get the same vibe. Or there have been a couple times where I end up being literally the only person on a server, especially if I'm playing like kind of between hours, like between the U.S. and Asia and that kind of thing. And so there's like no one around. Um, in the beta, it felt like most people had their mics on all the time, and I loved that. It was weird. It was kind of kind of nerve wracking at times. Mostly fun, mostly just a lot of fun. And you just don't see that anymore. That's one of the reasons why, like every once in a while, I'll do that thing where I'll hook up my phone to the instead of the mic to the game, and I'll just put on a playlist. And so as my character runs around in the game, I'm hopefully not too loud, but I'm just broadcasting music. Uh, it gets I've had I think two situations where someone got kind of annoyed and came up and tried to kill me for playing the music, which is kind of funny in itself. Most of the time I did a really good I've had people actually follow me around like Pied Piper style in the game, where I'm like, hi, I go by and I'm playing a song, and I get the emotes from them, and then they start following me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm afraid I'm not going anywhere interesting, but okay, fine, let's run along together for a while. Or I got a couple times where I went into someone's camp and was playing sort of a silly song, and they started dancing, so I just sat there and danced with them for a while. I love that sort of thing. I should probably do that more often. The only reason I don't on stream much is there's a little trick to getting the audio set up properly. Like you have to convince Fallout that your phone is the primary mic, and then also have the mic hooked up for OBS for the stream. And sometimes it feels like luck getting that to work. All right, let's do the intermission screen. We're going to shut this down. Nothing else to see here, I guess. You hear me going through the menus there in the background. And the question is, what to do next? I think I'm actually going to kind of re-announce some news here. I'm going to do some older footage of this game I've mentioned many, many times, The Tomorrow Children. And I think there's a little bit to talk about there in terms of... So like I mentioned, the company that makes the game is incredibly open, including the founder of the company, who's also was the lead developer on some of the Star Fox games on Nintendo. Like, he's a veteran in the industry. He's been doing this forever. He's one of the main forces behind, if not, the I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, he's behind the Pixel Junk games like Pixel Junk Eden, and I think there's Shooter and a few others in there, Monsters and Monsters 2. Point I'm trying to get across is that this guy's really done a lot. He's contributed a lot of stuff to the games industry. And he is like the most accessible, hey, how are you doing? You can go and chat and he'll answer questions and that kind of thing, when he has time. But you go on Discord and you can go just talk with him and the developers there. And, of course, lots and lots of fans of the game. It's a really awesome little community. And today, while I was working and kind of between things, I had Discord up and we were chatting about different things. And he was talking about like how they decided the price point for the game and some of the other factors that affected it. And we started talking about, how much Sony charges for every sale of a game on their platform. And it just blew me away. It shouldn't, because they're not alone. Like, it's the same rate that Apple charges, the same rate that all these different places charge, but it's to me grotesque. Like, it is so high that it's the difference between more games being produced or more companies surviving releasing a game that maybe isn't like, top of the charts. And what we have now, which is fewer games made and more companies that end up going under because they may have made a really cool game, but they can't fund themselves on it because they don't get to keep enough of the revenue. But anyway, we were talking about that. We were talking about it's a lot of fun, like we were talking about last week. It's a lot of fun to be able to talk to the folks who make the things that you really, really like. The game is going to be $40. So there's no in-game, like when they originally released it back in 2017, I think it was. May have the date wrong, but it was like the initial version was $20, and got that, really enjoyed it, a lot of fun. And then Sony kind of forced them to switch to a free-to-play model where, oh, the game's free, but then it's all in-game purchases. And when you do that, in order to make that work, yeah, you got to start shifting the content of the game around so that it's kind of like we were just talking about Fallout. It's pay to have fun. You know what I mean? It's like you can't just get by on the free version of the game. It's going to take forever. You've got to structure the things in the game so that it forces people to spend money. And of course, people hated that. People, I think people had even more like vitriolic, hateful reactions towards that sort of thing back then than they even do now. Oh, how much does Sony charge per game? Yeah, Sony charges 30%. Almost a full third of every sale goes to Sony. And I'm just like, so if you charge $20 for a game, right? You do the math. Like, that's nuts. Absolutely nuts. So you charge 20, but you only get to keep, $14 of that. And then take out of that the operating costs for the game. Take out of, basically funding a development team that's talented enough and, is able to hang around while you do additional content or you work on your next game and that kind of thing. Yeah, it is super, super hard. So, so the new one's going to be 40. But again, it's not. There's no in-game purchases. It's all you buy the game and then lo and behold, you play it. And they've talked about like if the launch goes well, which let me tell you, I'm going to be talking a lot about this game because I'm really interested in getting the word out. I've got to figure out what other streamers I can reach out to and go, hey, why don't you take a look at this thing? Maybe do some streams, show it off when it launches. It's really important to me to get it, to get a successful launch so that we'll have it around for a while this time. If the launch goes well, they're able to, if it funds its own development and whatnot, then they've talked about releasing, like a lot of companies will do, DLC, which to me is fine. Yes, if you release more stuff for the game, like where you can kind of expand it or whatever, I like the game, and they've been a very cool development a developer who interacts a lot with the community. Yeah, you bet. I'd be willing to play that. It is PlayStation only right now. We have been, a lot of the fans who are on the Discord have been, there's a big group of us, myself included, who are like, hey, love that you're re-releasing the game. Like, could you do a PC version? Since I'm doing all the talking, let me just pause for a minute and I'll go look up I'll go grab a video so you can see it. And probably switch things around here again so that I don't even know which one's going to be the best to show. We're just going to do this kind of at random. It's going to be messy and awkward, and it'll be great. Let's see. Pardon me for a moment here. Gotta do all this stuff in Windows to be able to get the view I need in the File Explorer. Now I gotta remember what they named certain properties. Can you play on PS4? You can. Yes, it is being released for both PS4 and PS5. Like, PS5 does have some bonus stuff, but fully playable, fully enjoyable on PlayStation 4. There we go. What are you doing? Why are you crashing? I think Explorer is crashing. Hang on a sec. Like, why? Why are you doing this? Oh, I think it survived. Let's flip that around. Probably going to hear some audio here for a minute. Yep. I think that's probably a good enough place to start. No, I don't want to do an update of VLC right in the middle of things. Thank you very much. All right, let's make that full screen. Let's go to the content. Well, see, a lot of that stuff, I don't know if that's them trying to incentivize something or if that's something that Sony drives. The more I hear about what Sony controls, not just Sony, any platform provider, Apple, Sony, Android, like Google, that kind of thing, the more I realize that a lot of the things you hear about aren't really driven by the companies that are making the games. It's the people who own the platform who want to push their stuff. Like, it came up this week, people were asking if they were going to do pre-orders on the game, because a lot of us are already sold on it. We're like, yeah, fine, $40, cool. Here's the money, I will wait till, it's launching. It's launching September 6th in the US and Europe, September 7th in Japan. Fine, here's the money, have fun, we'll wait. And they can't. They actually can't do pre-orders, and they can't do pre-orders because apparently Sony's like, nope. And he's like, well, so that's it. That's the answer. Which, again, surprised the heck out of me that they're kind of stuck with that. Let me see if I can get this. No, we don't want to do that. We want to do that one. There we go. And turn that on. And this shouldn't be too loud, I hope. Let's go ahead and switch over to content. Looks like that's showing up. Now, I'm not even going to explain a ton of what's going on. It's an admittedly odd looking game in that it doesn't look like a lot of other games. Notice that all the different characters that you're seeing here look really similar. They're like the same person in different outfits. That kind of fits into the story. This, I believe, is from the last... This might be the very last half hour of gameplay from the first time it was running, and Sony decided to shut it down after like less than a year. You don't think the Tomorrow Children dev would want PS5 exclusive stuff? Yeah, exactly, right? Why would you, maybe they do and I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but it does sound again like a, a thing that, like Sony trying to sell PS5s. Like they may get incentivized somehow to be like, hey, if you can help us move some PS5s, pretending they exist, then you get this. Or, hey, if you want to have it on the market, you have to have PS5 exclusive features, period. Like there's no incentivization. It's yes or no, do it or else. I don't know. I don't want to make stuff up. I'm just saying that based on what I've heard, it wouldn't be unusual for Sony to have those kinds, something like that, some kind of restriction on how it's going to work. But yeah, so the basic facts. It's relaunching. It's been redone so that there's like new content. There are new islands. There are new characters, like new models in the game. There are new features like things called monoliths that let you interact with them, and then you can control what are called the islands. The game itself is very much sort of a cooperative resource gathering game. Everyone else that you're seeing run around is another person in the game. Most of the time, you don't see the other people in the same world you're in. The main story of the game is that you're in a Soviet country, the remnants of a Soviet country. There was some big experiment that attempted to somehow like collect or unify the consciousness of the human race, and it went very poorly, and it wiped everything out. That white ground you're looking at, if you go outside the town area, it becomes like quicksand. You sink into it. If you sink into it all the way, you'll die. That area is called the Void. The Void is basically the remnants of human consciousness in the game. What you are trying to do is now and then these weird islands will like rise out of the void. Your job is to go out there and dig through them, find resources, find things that you can use, fight off enemies. You know, there will be things like protecting them somehow, sometimes. And then you'll also find these little matryoshka dolls. They look kind of like those Russian nesting dolls. Those are very important. You want to grab those, protect them, don't break them, bring them back to town. You put them on this incubator, and the remains of the human race come out one person at a time. Like, it's a bizarre, like, sort of abstract sci-fi story, but I love it. It is so far out from anything else you're going to see. You know, as much as I talk a lot about, like, I don't like these games because they all look like carbon copies of one another. There's no corner of this game that you can say that about. It is its own thing. The visuals are based on, like, very different influences than most other games. Vast majority of other games. It's based on things like the characters themselves are based on Czechoslovakian puppets. They're, like, carved out of wood. The team went and actually studied some of this. They actually traveled to Czechoslovakia to study it. The graphics in the game are influenced by Russian media, like from the 60s and 70s, like really weird animated kids shows and that kind of thing. The music in the game is a mixture of this, like, sort of like postmodern electronica, but also very Soviet-inspired, like, shall we call them party songs and that kind of thing, right? Party, like, you know, Communist Party songs. So I'm guessing you need to play with PlayStation Plus. You do, yeah. And that, again, that's the Sony thing, is that if you want to have a game that operates on the network, you got to have PlayStation Plus. And that actually, the network aspect of it ended up being part of what contributed to its demise originally. Like, you know, again, I've said many times, running servers is very expensive. So they had this game that had to pay for the servers that they ran it on, pay for the development, pay to Sony, and also turn a profit somehow. And it just wasn't possible, right? Well, they retooled the game in its new release, and so that it's now peer-to-peer. So there is no server. Or rather, individual players can run their own hosts on the PlayStation. So you can host one of these towns. You can broadcast. We've been talking a little bit about how are we going to announce to other people that the towns exist, and they're going to have features in game for finding them. But we've also talked about setting up Discords where people can go and chat with people and find servers that they want to play on, and maybe even post hours of availability and that sort of thing. But anyway, yeah. So there goes the server cost, right? It's just a bunch of people individually running their PlayStations that make up the network. But it's still network, so yeah, you still got to use PlayStation Plus, so you need the subscription. And it's funny, there's so many things like that we've been, I think, kind of numbed to, where that shouldn't be the norm, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I've already paid my internet provider for my network. Why do I have to pay Sony too? You want to play, but it's making it more unlikely because of PlayStation Plus. No, I totally get that. Yeah, you don't play on PlayStation enough to buy Plus. Yep, I think I totally get it. Yeah, that's gonna be a block for some people. You know, it's gonna be one of the things that. So talking to one of their devs, I was kind of curious. I'm like, so what, you know, like, why, like, what's preventing moving to PC, you know, like, it just feels like it would be a better thing. Like, I'm imagining, I was hoping when they announced it, like, that I would be able to spin up my own server, because I knew it was going to be peer-to-peer, and I was hoping I'd be able to spin up my own server, like, on AWS or something, you know, like, get a cloud provider, and I could run a 24/7 server on there for not too much. Shouldn't take that much processing power or anything, and I'd be willing to pay, like, if I could host my own thing and invite friends in and maybe build a little community and stream there. And so when I heard that they weren't going directly to PC, I was pretty bummed. Like, a lot of people are pretty disappointed, a lot of them for the very reasons you're bringing up, right? And so, again, really great dev community. One of them was gracious enough to kind of take, you know, some time and explain, like, I was like, well, is it the graphics thing? Like, what is it about? What's preventing it from going to PC? And he goes, no, it's not the graphics engine. It sounds like that part's pretty straightforward. He was like, it's actually has a lot to do with hacking and griefing. Yeah, we could totally play together if you got it. Yeah, that would be awesome. And Teal, my wife, will also be playing. We both played a ton when she actually played more than I did on the original one, because she used it like when she was doing. We've talked about how she has an immune thing, and so she does weekly treatments. When she was feeling fatigued from that, or she was doing some of that, she would play the game, right? So ends up being a really good kind of escape for those sorts of things. But anyway, talking to the developer, yeah, it turns out that it's concerns around hacking and mainly hacking, but I think also griefing, that's the big deal. So on PlayStation, they can basically secure it more easily than they can if it's just open on PC. Like, hacking on PC-based games is fairly well rampant, right? Like Fallout 76 even. When it first came out, how many stories were there about people who had found things like ways to get into developer hacks so that they could get weapons that don't actually exist in the game, right? There were people who lost their accounts. They had their accounts shut down because they were because of hacking concerns. You know, Bethesda, thankfully, was cracking down really, really hard on that. And you still got goofballs out there who are complaining about their response to it. You know, it's like, well, if you made it better, we wouldn't. Blah, blah. It's like, that's just, don't, child, go home, take a nap, maybe you'll feel better. Anyway, and so I totally get that. You know what I mean? It's like, they're a small company. They don't have the resources to constantly be fighting that sort of thing. So, you know, it's like, what do you do? What do you know, how are companies supposed to manage that sort of thing? I just realized that the controls are displayed down there. So let's move that so that we're not seeing that. Although I should also, just in case, let me make sure. What is that? Is that the right? No, that's like some kind of it's dock, undock. Audio, video, full screen, always zoom aspect ratio. Where is it? Playback. Is it there? What am I missing here? I just want to make it loop. Like, where's the make it loop button? I don't know. I'll just start it again if it ends. I don't know what I'm missing here. So, yeah, it was... okay, so there, yeah. There's just picked up a Matryoshka doll. We have to run it back to this... you don't have to put it in the loading area. Like, obviously I end there, so I can go back and find other stuff. This is one of the islands, so you can see there's metal there. The gold stuff is metal. You can chop down the trees for wood. You'll find coal. You will find different kinds of currency lying around. Like in the original release, there are two kinds of currency. One of them you could buy, right, in the the pay to win or pay to play model. One of the kinds of currency you could buy, and that would be used to buy like much better versions of tools, jetpacks. Here comes some spiders we're gonna have to fight off. And then there's stuff like GTA 5 Online. If you had a hacker give you stuff, you could get your account banned because the hacker spawned money that you auto grab off the ground. That's brilliant on their part, let me tell you. Especially a game like that where they ostensibly do have, you'd think they have the development staff to cope with that and be able to build in some traceability so that you don't punish people for crap that other people do. Just nice. I'll just say I've never played those games. I'm not a fan of the idea. I'm not a fan of how they look or anything. So it makes it sound like it's even more of a dumpster fire of a game to me. So, yep, you load resources up here. You notice that there are those little paper tickets appearing above the character. So you get kind of like credits for doing work. The whole thing is oriented around, cooperatively doing work. You're trying to restore the town. When you populate the town with enough people, by bringing back enough of the matryoshkas, then you basically finish that town. You see a view of it where the grass is grown. It's still kind of, interesting, kind of oddly synthetic looking. Doing two things at once there. So yeah, for putting things in the loading zone, I get those points. I can go back and take those points, trade them in, and they give me, I can build up things for experience. Those red things on the ground, there. That's the less valuable kind of currency that was in the game. But you're going to need to power the town. You're going to need to build defenses because monsters come through time to time. So it's this coordinated resource gathering, building. The towns are freeform. You don't get to dictate to other people what you spend the resources on. They go in a big communal pool. Does the game model communism? I don't think so. I'm not an expert on communism, but I think there's more to the philosophy than just everyone shares everything. Is it socialist? It's probably a little bit more. And I think that idea maybe is off-putting to some people too. I don't know. I think it's really cool. I think it's really interesting. There was a moment in playing the game early on that was like a perspective shift for me where I was playing the game. Some people kind of struggled to figure out what you were supposed to do in the game. I don't know if I just watched more videos. I watched some of the alpha gameplay from Japan that they were broadcasting, so I had already seen some of this stuff, right? So I had an idea of what to do, and I went out to an island like this, and I was working, and I unloaded my backpack just like I just did in the game there, and someone else came up and grabbed the stuff and ran off with it. And I was like, hey, almost like that, just happened. It was like, hold it, that's mine. I worked for that. And some people, they have that reaction and they stick with it. And it becomes like they just feel frustrated by the fact that other people can come and take their stuff and get credit for it. You either do that or you very quickly realize that no. That's actually kind of one of the points of the game, is that you cannot do this entirely on your own. You need other people to be able to get enough of the work done to actually restore the town, right? You can have small groups. You can have small groups that are maybe highly coordinated and do a really good job and are really smart about it. There's a certain strategic skill level that plays into the game. Or you can get a town that just has a ton of people in it, all working kind of willy-nilly, and either for the common good and you're working towards a goal, or you'll get a bunch of people who just want to goof around and build guns for no reason. It sounds frustrating, and sometimes maybe it could be, but it also ends up being a really key aspect to the game, is figuring out how you're going to coordinate a bunch of people that you have very limited communication with towards a common goal. And this game had one of the best griefing tools, anti-griefing tools that I've seen in a game. And that is that the game kind of kept track of, if someone was shooting a building, it could detect that. And it would kind of, someone would get marked. If you saw someone doing that, you could actually buy these traps that you could lay down. So you might put one of the traps in place in front of one of the guns that they built that they were using to shoot the building. When they then run over that trap, a jail cell pops up and they're trapped. They can't do anything for a certain amount of time in the game. And the people who really enjoyed the game would come up and taunt the people in the cages, basically. But it worked. It actually worked really well. It didn't completely eliminate griefing because, again, a certain amount of arguing and contention is kind of natural to the game. If that's going to drive you too nuts, I don't know, maybe it's not a good thing. Most of the game, though, is cooperation. And I found that, once you shift your perspective like that, you're not worried about, hey, I worked for that, I want all the benefit. Once you're actually working towards this shared goal and everyone's pitching in and doing stuff, it's a completely different kind of enjoyment that you get out of the game. You know, and it's, for me, for my wife, for a lot of people, it's really, really satisfying, and also like a just different than anything else I'd ever played or have ever played since. So definitely the biggest dumpster fire. Red Dead Redemption 2 online is okay, but to do any extra job you pay 20 per extra job, and there's like 5 or 6 at this point. So basically that's their DLC, is $20 a mission sort of a thing, or $20 a bonus story. Yeah, that's a lot. You consider you probably pay $60 standard for the base game, and then 6 times 20 is another 120. Like, it's a hell of an investment. You know, so yeah, we were talking about it earlier. So some of the people that my wife plays Fallout 76 with also play, I think, Monster Hunter, and you know, they're starting to build up a really nice friendship. It's really cool. And so they were kind of, you know, I think that this friend was kind of saying, like, hey, why don't you give Monster Hunter a try? And you know, Teal was kind of like, oh, will I enjoy it? What is it? And my son pointed out that, yeah, he said, well, the game itself is going to be this much, but then you notice that they're playing this version and they have this DLC. So if you want to get started, you're going to have to buy the base game and then this and this and this and this, right? You know, however many there are. I don't know how many there actually are in this particular case. But yeah, it ends up being a huge investment just to maybe play a game that you might like with a friend. That's kind of a tough thing. That's a tough call. So, yeah, I can't remember this. I was thinking originally that this was the last half hour of the game. It doesn't look like it now. This looks more like just a standard kind of a work day. This is another thing that I love in the game. The fact that you actually have to... Notice how the ground is kind of mottled looking there? You will sink in that if you try to walk on it. Now, you can build cars that you can drive out across. You can use these skis that will make you sink not so fast, and you, as you're moving, you float back up. You know, there's other ways to get out there. But the main way of getting out from the town to the work site is you wait for the bus. You get on a bus and you ride out to the work site. And like I said, I love that. I love that thing. You would not believe, or maybe you would, I don't know, but the number of critics who panned the game because you had to wait a few minutes for a bus. I just don't get it. I don't know. It's and that there's always something really satisfying to me about that. Everything you've harvested goes crashing down on the ground. Now it's time to take it from the drop site here at the bus station over to the resource areas, where once you put it here, again, notice you get some more work credit. I'm going to dump out my backpack there. And people stacking up wood. All these resources, once they're in these bins, you can use to build the different things that you see in the town. There isn't a thing there. That's not entirely true. There are a few things that you start with, but most of the things that are in town, you need resources to build. You've got to go and do these little slider puzzle or different kinds of mini games at a crafting station. Build sort of like, or obtain like, not really a plan, but sort of like the kit for one of those buildings or one of those resources, like that coal plant over there. That's something that you've got to build. Anyway, you've got to get the resources, get it, and then if you pick it up off the I can't remember what you call it, the factory thing, you get to go figure out where you're going to put it, where you're actually going to build that thing. So there's some coal, there's wood, the one on the end is food. If you run out of food, people are going to start leaving the town, of course. So, yeah, it really is its own thing. But I love the visuals, I love the music, the community around it was great. It's a standout in terms of the goals and the way you play. Really, really nice graphical work. Everyone votes in an election for different mayors who are running. Each of the different mayors so there's an island forming in the background. That's how they appear. Houses are required to be able to have more citizens in town. Those are the houses that we're looking at there. That monster to the left is an Isverg. And the Isverg will come by every once in a while. They're kind of like big, kind of metallic-looking Godzillas. They will breathe fire on your town, stomp on buildings, generally make a nuisance of themselves. That thing flying in the distance, left of center, towards the top to bottom middle of the screen, is another kind of Isverg, flying creature. These little black fly-like things with the beaks are called Ratashi. They're more of a threat to you personally than the town. You gotta watch out for them. They'll come over and attack you. So you can use shotguns on them. That heart thing that's beating there will make more Ratashi, so you want to take those out too. And notice that once you kill the heart things, once you destroy them, they actually turn into more resources. They turn into crystals. Man, it's been a long time since I've looked at the game in this much detail. It's kind of fun. Other things about the game is, you know, the graphics have a very particular kind of look to them, not just in the character design and that sort of thing, but in like the materials and that, you know, if you look, the materials in the game look a little different than they do in other games. You get more depth of field from that kind of like that focal blur that you see. They built their own custom engine based on I couldn't begin to tell you exactly how the whole thing, I couldn't even remember the name. It's some kind of voxel based, like they're using, you know, the islands themselves. Being able to tunnel through an island is a very, from my understanding, a very difficult, if not impossible thing to do with traditional polygon based graphics. By using voxels, they got a couple advantages. One, you could dig through materials. I'm way oversimplifying this and probably oversimplifying it to the point of being very, very wrong. So if anyone who's interested should go look up the real thing. But anyway, it's also basically it's using ray tracing for a lot of the lighting effects. So whereas ray tracing is now kind of a different sort of a thing, you know, there are more games available. The gaming hardware now supports kind of, you know, ray tracing on the hardware level. They got it working on a PlayStation 4. So, which I absolutely love the way it looks. I grew up watching, really enjoying like animated movies and shows that look kind of like this. I always kind of like the kind of, you know, offbeat weird stuff anyway. And this is definitely odd, you know, not going to be everyone's cup of tea in terms of its visual style and whatnot. So yeah, no, I've been in love with this game for a long time. You're honestly excited to see how the game goes. You might just say screw it and get plus. Yeah, well, if you do, let me know. It'd be a lot of fun to be able to play in the same server. So, yeah, I think that next week is going to be a combination of Stray. We'll see how Stray goes. If there's kind of a natural stopping point and I want to do something else, I'll probably run more of these videos and talk about the game again. Mainly because, like I said, it's really important to me to get the word out. And they have hinted, there's no guarantees. No, there's no promises, no guarantees. But if they have a successful enough launch, they have hinted that they would consider doing releases on other platforms. So not only am I interested in playing the game just because I enjoy it and I miss it and I miss the community around it and I like playing with my wife and all that, but the more successful the PlayStation launches, the more chance there is that I will also get to play on PC at some point. Which I would just love. I mean, the game is actually, you know, there are some games I really don't mind playing on a PlayStation. This one's very well oriented around the controllers. Like, controllers are more than sufficient to do everything you need to do in the game. You know, just all the different kind of interaction and manipulation. And they're building in some things like swipe-based gestures. Like right now in the game, I can't remember what button you had to hit, but to be able to do the emotes or the gestures to other players, you had to go through a couple buttons. Apparently, they're going to make it so that you can do that using the gestures on the touch part of the pad. When does the game come out? It comes out September 6th this year. So they have been tracking development and kind of giving status updates. They were at 90% done, I think about a week or two ago, somewhere around there. So they're well on track. I can't emphasize enough how cool I think it is that, again, like the guy who kind of started the company and makes the games is so involved with the community. So Dylan Cuthbert, he's an awesome guy. Really fun to talk to. And there have been occasions when people are on the Discord server and they were like, oh yeah, I remember like when I was riding the bus, like it was great, except I hated when I would get to the end and I wanted to like capture a picture of it, but the camera views wouldn't let me get in the right place. Like I couldn't take a picture of the scene because the camera wasn't going where I wanted it to. He's like, oh, you want me to go ahead and add a couple more camera positions? Like, he's like, that'd be really easy. So he did, apparently. Like, based on a conversation on the Discord server, he's like, here's a new feature. That is awesome. That's, in my mind, that's like how it's supposed to work, right? No, he's always been really involved with the community. He was maybe one of the first game developers who I would think of as sort of a well-known, one of the major game developers. And here we are. We've looped it back around to the beginning. Who, like on Twitter especially, he would interact with people. He'd comment and, he'd like share people's stuff, and it was pretty neat. Like, that should be a lot more possible these days. And some companies do that really well. Some not so much. In this case, yeah, they were really good at it. It's funny, but that little casual toss, like throwing the metal into the bin, that's a practiced thing. Like, knowing where you need to stand to be able to throw something, to have it land in just the right place. And there was always something really satisfying in doing that, partially because it's just kind of, physically, like, in terms of the interaction, satisfying in itself, but also just in terms of the efficiency in the game. Like, okay, I'm going to go over here, I'm dropping the wood, I'm not going to waste time running over there to do it. I'm just going to throw the thing and have it land in the right place. I wasn't watching anyone's names. I should pay attention and see if anyone who's currently on the Discord server is actually on this instance of the game. Because we did tend to run into a lot of the same people. There were a couple folks actually from Japan. The game was much more successful in Japan than it ever was in the US, for a variety of reasons. Majida Honda, Ikidanga Live. I remember these names. They aren't the people I know on the server, but I definitely remember these names. Shoulder 666. Fuji is a pencil. No idea. But yeah, so there's a sound in this game whenever there are day-night cycles. And so whenever morning comes, there's a loudspeaker in town that you'll hear this kind of a trumpet fanfare play. I still have that as my alarm in the morning. Like, that's what wakes me up in the morning. One of the things that gets you is Red Dead Redemption 1 had DLC called Undead Nightmare, and it was a whole story about zombies and Western times. And the last update that came out gave it a... Waiting.
Даже налоговая ограниченная.
Taking a look at all the people.
Спасибо.
And the language in the game is sort of a mock version of Russian, as I understand it. It's a mock version that was drawn from multiple Eastern European languages, I think is sort of the official statement. Came out and gave it a game-breaking bug where zombies would become headless and then slowly turned into hostile people with guns. And it made it where you couldn't finish missions half the time. Lovely. Good grief. Yeah, that sucks. And it's hard to hold companies accountable for releasing that kind of stuff too, right? Like, what are you going to do? That's unfortunate. You know, this game was not without its bugs. They had some. Most of the ones I remember seeing, if not all the ones I remember seeing, were pretty innocent. There was one in particular where I was one of two, maybe three people in a town trying to finish, and we just could not do it. We could not gather resources fast enough to get ahead of the curve and get people to stay and all that. That one turned out to be a bug. Like, I was like, oh, well, maybe... I remember I went on Twitter, I'm like, hey, maybe they're introducing this thing where they're trying to encourage even more cooperation, blah, blah, blah. And again, Dylan, the creator of the game, came on and he's like, no, that was just a bug. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, giving you too much credit, maybe, I don't know. While we're watching here, I'm also kind of checking the streams and making sure everything's good. It's kind of fun to be able to broadcast to Twitter, you know, but I get no statuses, no stats of any kind talking about who might be watching, or like there's just nothing, which makes me think that long term, in terms of the platform supported, like there's probably other ones that would be better to try out first, just as, you know, better engagement with folks. So many people begged Rockstar to fix it because it worked fine until the update, but they basically said if we didn't, we won't get anything out of it, so no. Lovely. Yeah. Yep. Bethesda's come close to that a couple times, you know? I mean, there are, I don't know how many active bugs in the game that mean that, like, stuff that we've paid cash money for, you know, like, good example is there are these storage containers in the game, right? Like the big shipping containers. And you have one that's solid and the other that's open, so you can, like, you know, you can use them in your camp. You can build like a shipping container camp out of them. The problem being that they're very, very broken in terms of how you can place them, and they're broken in that you can't always put things inside them. So as a camp item, like as a basic thing they're supposed to do, as a camp structural item, they're just busted. I haven't tried to use them for a long time. Maybe they fixed that one. But all I know is that when they came out, they were broken. A long time after they released, they were still broken, and I couldn't use the thing I'd paid for, and I'm like, that's just dirt. There's no excuse for that. Test the thing, make sure it works, then charge money for it. Anyway, that thing you're seeing to the right, that is a mayoral campaign. The different mayors in the game give your town different bonuses, different abilities. Maybe you can work faster. Maybe you get better defense. You know, like there's a variety of things. So you actually have an election to see, you know, which mayor, quote unquote, wins the race. So it's another thing where, you know, you're kind of, you know, beholden to, it's not just you dictating things. There's certain things where you do have more control. But a lot of the stuff in the game is working with other people. And again, working with other people, like there's no in-game chat. Very limited means to communicate with other folks. Someone voted for Pushkin. Looks like Alexandra is probably it. Fallout 4 is still unplayable on Xbox for you. It crashes once you get farther in the game. Lovely. Like, just a basic, like, no, the game itself just blows up after a while. Yeah, companies get away with way more than they ever should in terms of actually exchanging money for things that are known to be just flat out broken. Alexandra's won the election. Night length -9. So, okay, so that character, the duration of nighttime in the town is going to be a lot shorter now. So there you go. Which is important. I don't know if you noticed, but when your character goes in the dark, you start kind of, there's that staticky noise, you kind of start sparkling. That's not a good thing. You have to stay in the light in order to maintain integrity. So to survive the nighttime, you've got to have a lot of lights to make sure that you aren't going to get damaged. Well, if you want to have a lot of lights, you're going to have to generate a lot of power. And in the early stages of a town, generating power is a big deal. You've got to like run on a treadmill to keep the power going. But yeah, you can see people got pretty creative with the shipping containers in this game too. Those little boxes that they would like build huge structures out of, or like in that case, they'd spell stuff out, or pretty cool. Well, I think I'm going to call it good for tonight. This has been a lot of fun. It's getting super late. It's strange. I feel like it's not just that I've been streaming a long time, although I have. I've been streaming, well, 3 hours is pretty typical for me these days. But between starting late, like working late, starting late, doing this for 3 hours, haven't had dinner, I've got to still write tonight, and I've got to get up early for an early morning meeting tomorrow. There's an awful lot going on, so I got to wrap it up. So hopefully this was fun and interesting. Anyone watching, you didn't give the Tomorrow Children a chance the first time it was out, give it a try this time. Definitely worth the investment. Especially like if you're someone who really loves games, like playing a wide variety of games, you'll know how hard it is to find something that is fun but also feels new, or vice versa, that's genuinely new but is also still fun. It isn't so sort of niche that it becomes more of a curiosity than a game. This had a lot going for it. Glad to see they're re-releasing it. Really looking forward to playing. So good. I'm glad to hear it. We never saw Nikki again. We lost EG. Like I said, I'm worried I scared EG off by blah blahing about Fallout again. I have to catch up with them and see. So we talk on Discord now and then. Have a wonderful night. Have a great week. Hope things look up for you. Hope you and your family are all doing well. Nikki, if you're hearing this, hope you're doing well too. I'm sorry if we spoke ill by merging Pokemon and Digimon into a single universe. We'll just call it the Mon universe. Or Poke-Digi? Probably not. Let's not call it that. Alright. As always, take care. God bless. And we will see you again next week. Next week we're starting. I didn't run the trailer again, but yeah, next week we're starting up Stray. Looking forward to it. I may, depending on when they actually activate the game, I might be playing a little bit like at midnight on the night before. We'll have to see. I also don't want to, like, I'd rather play when people are available. So even if it means I end up playing a little later, that's fine. So, take care of yourself, sir. Have a good one. See you again soon.